Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatem, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Da is for Deen, al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and rise for the month of Ramadan.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to your program, Path to Paradise, a humanitarian and spiritually uplifting program packaged and powered by Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation. Last month, if you are following us, we began a very important conversation on the 2026 Qurbani campaign by Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation, focusing on the vision, the structure, and then the need for early participation. Today, we are going to take this conversation, further, and that is why we want to look at Eid al-Adha, popularly known as Eid al-Kabir, here in Nigeria. It is not just a celebration. It is a global act of devotion, sacrifice, and shared humanity. Yet, beneath this spiritual exercise lies a very striking reality. And what is that reality? The reality is that globally, one of the agencies of the United Nations, that is the Food and Agriculture Organization, shows that over 673 million people globally are facing chronic hunger. And even more concerning is the fact that about 2.8 billion people do not have access to nutritious diet, particularly protein, and of course which meat, like we all know, is one of it, which is something that has to do with the Qurbani. And we also know that during the Eid al-Adha celebration, millions of Muslims globally, slaughter rams or camel or cows. But not every Muslim home, especially the less privileged and the poor, have the opportunity to also participate in these important pillars of Islam, which is to make sacrificial, slaughtering of their rams in accordance with the dictates and the commandment of Allah. If we come down to our own part of this world, which is Nigeria, the same organization, that is the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, also in their 2024 report, which was published in 2025, also indicates that about 35 million Nigerians are projected, to have the challenge of food insecurity. No thanks to the inflation and many other global events happening. Also with this United Nations, with the US, Israel and Iran war, the supply chain has been disrupted and many households are suffering. So that is why this morning we are going to be looking at the part 2 of the Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation Qurbani. And we want to look at the impact, the accountability and the scalability of this intervention. Before we go into the details, let us take our first break by meeting our sponsor, Hajj Mabrur Ventures Limited, for their package this morning. Please stay tuned. We shall be back after this time out.
Ramadan.
Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalam ala rasulihi Muhammad Mustafa wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslima. Ọpẹ́ ni fún Ọlọ́run baba Allah. Atọrọ ìkẹ́ fún Ànábì sallallahu alaihi wa sallam bá ní gẹ́. Ní ìtẹ̀síwájú gẹ́gẹ́ bí rálẹ̀ fún ṣe hajj tí à ń bára sọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀. Àwọn agbègbè ń bẹ tó pàtàkì fẹ́ bá lọ sí hajj kẹ́ bí mùsùlùmí tó gbọ́dọ̀ mójútó. Agbègbè àkọ́kọ́ náà ń pè ní al-istidadu ruhi wal imani. Òun náà ni area ìdàgbàsókè ẹ̀mí tí à ń pè ní spiritual aspect of the life. Ọ̀ràn yẹn ni pé bá fẹ́ lọ sí hajj kó jẹ́ kí ìgbàgbọ́ nínú Ọlọ́run kó ní àlàáfíà sí. Bá a ṣe bọ́nà ọba lò kò ṣe déédéé. Ọkọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí ìgbàgbọ́ òdodo. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà sì ni pé ìfarọ̀lẹ̀ fọ́lọ́run ọba kí á ń lẹ́mìí dáadáa, ẹ̀mí àánú, ẹ̀mí ìgbàgbọ́, kí á sì ní ikhlas, ẹ̀ ń pè ní sincerity. Ọlọ́run wa ma umiru illa liya'budullaha mukhlisina lahu dina hunafa yuqimu s-salata wa-z-zakata wa dhalika dinul qayyim. Gbogbo ń ta torí ẹ̀ pa yín láṣẹ ẹ̀sìn oníkẹ́ dojú ẹ̀sìn kọlọ́. Alálàájì rere ó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ khalisan lillah, ẹni tó dojú ẹ̀sìn ẹ̀kọ́ Ọlọ́run, ká má mú nǹkan mẹ́pọ̀ mọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba, ká jẹ́ náà tí mo ti jẹ ẹbọ nínú àwọn ìdàgbàsókè mi ni, ká túbà ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wa, gbogbo àwọn ìwà jẹgẹjẹgẹ táwọn fún tukú dẹ́ káàtó, bọ́yá èèyàn ń parọ́, èèyàn ń mutí, èèyàn ń jalè, èèyàn ń ṣe ṣìnà, gbogbo àwọn nǹkan ìlà gbọ́dọ̀ túbà kó nínú ẹ̀ pátápátápátá. Kí a wá jẹ́ kí ìlànà ìjọsìn ọlọ́láfíà sí, kí n wá lọ déédéé, wákàtí 5 wa ká máa kí dáadáa, ká máa sin Ọlọ́run bá dáadáa. Ẹ bá lè ká Al-Qur'ani kó máa ké, ẹni tó lè sàṣàlátù kó máa sàṣàlátù. Gbogbo àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí náà ní jẹ́ kí ìdàgbàsókè bá ẹ̀mí wa. Eléyìí ni ìmúra àkọ́kọ́ fún mùsùlùmí náà ń pè ní spiritual preparation fún ṣe hajj. Lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ kó al-istidadu sihhi wal jismi, òun náà tá à ń sọ pé physical preparation, òun náà ni pé kí alálàáfíà, ẹni bá ló fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ hajj ọbọ̀ lálàáfíà, ó béèrè àlàáfíà. Ànábì náà ní al-mu'min al-qawiyyu khayrun ahabbu ila Allahi min al-mu'min ad-da'if. Mùmí tó ní okun lára ó lóore ju mùmí ọ̀lẹ lọ. Torí ẹ̀ gbogbo ọ̀nà ìlànà ìlera náà gbọ́dọ̀ mójútó. Ìlànà ìlera ní ká mójútó ara wa, kí a má máa ṣe wàhálà jù ká má bàa fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ hajj. Lẹ́nà gbogbo àwọn ètò kí a lọ ká yẹra wa wò, ká máa rú station our head lọ́dọ̀ àwọn medical doctor, kí a jẹ́ kí wọ́n yẹ̀ wá wò, kí wọ́n yẹ̀ wò, kí wọ́n yẹ̀ tọ̀ wò, mọ́tò kí wọ́n yẹ̀ wò, tá à ń pè ní medical check-up, kó sì wà authentic, kó má ṣe pé fake. Kí ndọ́bá sì bá bọ̀ bẹ̀ ká fi hàn àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ kó wa lọ bá a ṣe rere o. Ẹni tó bá yẹ kí wọ́n kọ̀wé fún wa, wọ́n á lè mójútó. Lẹ́yìn náà gbogbo nǹkan tá a bá lè jẹ tó lè mú okun ara wa ní ká máa jẹ. Kó tó àti lè kó ìrẹ̀wẹ̀sì bọ́ ara wa ká jìnà sí ilé tó ń jẹ́ agbègbè kan inú múra lẹ̀. Pẹ̀lú gbọ́dọ̀ ọ̀dọ̀ Ọlọ́run bí tá a tó dúró sí rẹ̀.
لبيك اللهم لبيك. Emeritus Alhaji. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, my brother. Haji, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
If I'm right, it's close to 20 years you've been performing Hajj and Umrah with Hajj Mabrur Ventures. What's so special about Hajj Mabrur Ventures?
Mashallah. Haji Mabrur Ventures has been impacting Hajj operation for the past 25 years. They are trustworthy with top-notch service delivery. They serve their Hujjaj 2 sumptuous meals daily. Home away from home experience. We are accommodated in exquisite hotels close to Haram with Zihara to holy sites at no cost.
Alhaji, we can't wait. Please have our passports.
Visit Haji Mabrur Ventures today at number 9A Abiodun Fashakin Crescent behind Old Lasu Campus, Idiroko Bus Stop, Anthony Village, Lagos. Telephone 0809-211-3680 or 0813-790-0777. Abuja Fana Business Suit Complex Limited, Suit B42, Yahusa Suya Sport, 7 Busum Close, behind AP Plaza off Ademola Adetokubo Crescent, Wusetu FCT Abuja. Telephone 0813-381-8891. Haji Mabrur Ventures. Experience, professionalism and piety.
Of Ramadan.
Alhamdulillah, you are welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are watching your program, Path to Paradise. This morning, we are focusing on the impacts, accountability, and the scalability of the Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation Qurbani exercise 2026. We have with us in the studio this morning the Chief Coordinator of Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation in Lagos State. Is a volunteer worker with Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation, by profession is a chartered accountant, and that is welcome Alhaji Imam Sulaiman Shita. You are welcome again to Path to Paradise.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's good seeing you this morning again.
Alhamdulillah.
Ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá nílé, abala ibi tí a wà náà ni abala ibi tí a gbé ti máa ń fi ọ̀rọ̀ jomitó ọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn àlejò wa nílé agodo. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí àtúntò gbé àwọn bàbá wa wá, àwọn ìmáàmù wa Alhaji Sulaiman Shita tí wọ́n jẹ́ alákòóso àgbà fún ẹ̀ka ti ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ń bí lábẹ́ ìgbìmọ̀ Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation. We want you to let us go back into history. Let's look at 2025 Qurbani exercise. I want you to let our viewers and our audience to also listen to us. How many households or communities underserved benefited? And of course, again, I also want you to explain to us how many animals were slaughtered in 2025.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen once again for this opportunity. As one of our major activities of ZSF, Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation, is that during the Eid al-Kabir, we normally slaughter animals for Muslims that are less privileged. And in 2025, under my own coverage in Lagos State, I have 19 districts under me. And in each district, we have 2 or 3 other centers where we normally slaughter animal. And for each center, we slaughter a cow. And each cow is to take care of just 30 people, average cow. So you can imagine 30 multiplied by 2 centers multiplied by 19 districts. That will give us the number of animal being slaughtered and the family being taken care of.
That is indeed a very, very encouraging exercise. Èèyàn wa abala bí tí a dé yìí, ẹ láǹfààní àti lè pè wọlé sórí aago wa. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí tí ẹ ti mọ̀, nọ́mbà tá lè pè sí òun náà ni 0811 819 3603. That is the number you can call to participate, share your thoughts, ask questions, or make contribution on the topic we are looking at. Ohun tá ń gbéyẹ̀wò láàárọ̀ yìí náà ni ètò tí ìgbìmọ̀ Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation tí wọ́n ń ṣe fún iléyá láti lè pa ẹran iléyá. Àwọn bàbá wa ìmáàmù wa Alhaji Sulaiman Shita wọ́n ti ń tan ìmọ́lẹ̀ sí. Ìbéèrè mi ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì tí mo fẹ́ mú wá ni pé tí a bá wo orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà, mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ṣàlàyé fún wa kí ni àwọn ìpele ìgbésẹ̀ tẹ́ máa ń gbé tí máa ń jẹ́ kí pípa ẹran ní àsìkò iléyá yẹn kó kẹsẹ̀ járí kó sì lápa láwùjọ.
Well, iṣẹ́ ńlá níná fún wa. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ fún wa pé a ní àwọn tí wọ́n bá wa ṣiṣẹ́ tó jẹ́ volunteer workers tó ń finúfẹ́dọ̀ bá wa ṣiṣẹ́ ní àwọn àdúgbò kọ̀ọ̀kan. Bí a ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí, wọ́n ti ń ṣe àkójọ àwọn ènìyàn tí wọ́n máa jẹ àǹfààní. Bákan náà, a ní àṣepọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ìmáàmù olórí ẹ̀sìn ní àdúgbò tí àwọn náà ń bá wa kópa, tá máa ń bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀, tó máa ń fún aláǹfààní àwọn tó wà ní mọ́ṣáláṣí wọn tó ní bùkátà sí. So látara ilé láti máa kó wọn jọ, nísìnyí àti ń kó wọn jọ. Ẹni tó bá sì ní àǹfààní náà, wọ́n sì lè kàn sí wa, a forúkọ wọn sí. Ìyẹn ni àkọ́kọ́ ìgbésẹ̀ tá máa ń ṣe láti lè kójọ àwọn olófẹ́ jẹ àǹfààní tí wọ́n ní àǹfààní láti pa iléyá.
Ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹ tún lè darapọ̀ pẹ̀lú wa lórí social media wa bíi Facebook, Instagram, X àti YouTube wa lórí ètò tí ó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí. Nínú àwọn nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ kí ẹ tún ṣàlàyé fún wa, ẹ ti mẹ́nu bà díẹ̀ nínú ẹ̀ pé ètò yìí wà fáwọn tí ó bá kù díẹ̀ káàtó fún, táwọn náà sì fẹ́ kópa nígbà tí a bá ń pa ẹran iléyá tàbí ń ṣe iléyá, ẹ fẹ́ kí wọ́n ní àǹfààní àti lè jẹ ẹran ọdún. tó mo fẹ́ kẹ́ ṣàlàyé báwo ni àwọn ètò tẹ́ gbé kalẹ̀ tẹ́ fi mọ̀ pé lágbájá yìí ó yẹ kó náà kópa àbó yẹ kó náà lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ nínú ẹ̀, báwo lẹ ṣe ń ṣe?
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ síwájú, àwọn tí wọ́n bá ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn wọ́n ti wà ládùúgbò bákan náà pẹ̀lú àwọn olórí ẹ̀sìn ládùúgbò tó ti mọ̀ wá pé lára ojúṣe tá máa ń ṣe ní ọdọọdún ni so wọ́n ní àǹfààní àti lọ forúkọ sílẹ̀ tán bá ti gbọ́ orúkọ yẹn àwọn orúkọ yìí làwọn máa ṣàkójọ ẹ̀ ló máa ṣe làwọn máa ṣe determination àwọn mélòó la fẹ́ take care ní àwọn àdúgbò kọ̀ọ̀kan bí a kì í fún alápẹ̀rẹ̀ ní nǹkan bí ọdún mẹ́ta sẹ́yìn ní àdúgbò tí èmi mójútó a pa àgbò 36 èèyàn 7 dẹ̀ ló pín àgbò kan ní àdúgbò yẹn so a máa pa wọ́n sílẹ̀ báyìí life a máa kọ́kọ́ wọn sílẹ̀ lẹ́yìn ìgbà yẹn wọ́n máa pa wọ́n nígbà tó ń bá pa wọ́n tán wọ́n á bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí búchà wọn sí ọ̀nà 7 àwọn the first set of people 7 wọ́n á bọ́ síbẹ̀ wọ́n á gbà wọ́n á kọ orúkọ wọn lẹ̀ á ní àkọọ́lẹ̀ iye ẹbí tó gbà àtàwọn àǹfààní kódà ní tí òun ṣe mùsùlùmí gan pàápàá ń jẹ àǹfààní ṣé wọn náà wọn ní àwọn tó jẹ́ pé àjọ ń ṣọdún tàjọ wà ní àdúgbò ni so bí a ṣe lè látọ̀ sí yẹn a tún lọ sọ́wọ́n abúlé mi lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ ọdún ọjọ́ kejì ọdún ọjọ́ kẹrin ọdún la fi máa ń ṣe àwọn ètò yìí.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn àlàyé tí ẹ ṣe yìí inú mi dùn púpọ̀ yìí pé ìgbìyànjú tí Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation tí wọ́n ń ṣe ó ń jẹ́ kí àwọn aráàlú káwọn náà lè láǹfààní kí wọ́n jẹ àǹfààní ẹran pípa yìí but mo rí i pé kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe fẹ́ ṣe ó máa láwọn ìpèníjà kọ̀ọ̀kan tí a máa dojú kọ yìí lórí àwọn ètò ẹran tẹ́ ń pa yìí àtàwọn tí ẹ̀ ń ha fún ǹjẹ́ lè tàn mọ́lẹ̀ díẹ̀ sí 2 mẹ́ta àbí ẹyẹ kan nínú àwọn ìpèníjà yẹn.
ìpèníjà yẹn nínú ẹ̀ ni pé a lè tẹ́ gbogbo wọn lọ́rùn nǹkan tó dẹ̀ ń fà yín ni pé bí ọwọ́ ikú bá ṣe mọ òun ló fi ń bọ́jú bàbá ṣe rí ìrànlọ́wọ́ sí àti iye tí àwọn náà rí kó jọ la fi lè pa ẹran fún àwọn èèyàn in fact tí èèyàn bá kó tírélà 5 wọ Èkó yìí kò lè débì kankan so ibi tí agbára wa bá dé náà la máa ṣe dé nínú ìpèníjà náà ni pé a ní owó tó tówó tó lè fi kárí àwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n ń bùkátà sí ìyẹn jẹ́ alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì òun ni pé lọ́dọ̀ àwọn èèyàn náà ẹlòmíì ìtìjú máa ń mú ó lè má fẹ́ jáde pé kọ́ńbà máa ń mọ̀ because àwọn táwọn náà ń gba ìrànlọ́wọ́ lọ́tún lọ́sì afẹ́ kán rí àwọn kan tí à ń ṣe kán lè mọ̀ pé bọ́n ṣe rán wa bẹ́ẹ̀ la ṣe jíṣẹ́ ó wà nù wọn tó máa pé kán má fi mí hàn àbóhùn fẹ́ ṣe àkọọ́lẹ̀ àwọn náà dẹ̀ máa dúró lórí pé àwọn tó rán wọn ṣẹ́ a gbọ́dọ̀ jíṣẹ́ fún wọn kán mọ̀ pé a ṣiṣẹ́ tí wọ́n rán wa.
ẹ ṣeun gan ìbéèrè tí mo fẹ́ béèrè ẹ ti gbẹnu lé lórí òun náà ni I want to ask you with regards to transparency and accountability how do you account for these animals you slaughtered and the funds you collect from well-meaning public donors?
Sincerely, one of our key responsibility is accountability in this work, this volunteer work, because the donor, we want them to be doing it on a regular basis. And if we are not able to account for the fund given to us, it will create a challenge for subsequent programs of this nature. So the first thing is we have record of individuals signed with their phone numbers of those beneficiaries and the area where you normally go to. We have medias that can cover it. There was a time we had to go to a village, and in that village, media coverage, they have to see them that they are actually villagers that actually benefited, because that is the specification of the donor. They want you to go into the inner villages. In fact, they have to cover from the main road to that place to see the way people, and those people are even interviewed. There are some people who even went to their household, their doorstep, to give them these animals.
That's very good, and that is also one of the things that will make the donors to again add more, in terms of their support. And one other thing I want you to share with us is this may not be peculiar to Lagos, but I'm looking at it national-wise. In terms of logistics and the credibility, how does Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation, extend all these goodies beyond Lagos to other areas in terms of reaching those people during the Ilea period?
In this, around the Ilea period, we normally have a meeting with those centers all over Nigeria. At least we cover up to 20, maybe 23 or 22 or 23 states. And we have representatives in all this area. We normally hold meetings and we still reinstate the procedure, the method, and the sharing formula, the way they have to do it. We normally hold meeting first, and the number of animals that is coming to various areas and how we want them to handle it. All this would have been done earlier, before the day. And those will be available, the logistics surrounding it, will have fixed a date for them so that the beneficiary will have been informed so that they can come around to benefit from it. All this with coverage that are allowed and the recording of those who benefited and some little pictures that which we are able to take. This we always prepare so that, and most of the time, the only thing is the first day may be very difficult because those workers too want to do the festive. So the second day and the third day is the busiest time that we normally do these activities.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The number you can call to be part of this program once again is 0811 819 3603. Now, I just have this question I want to put before us again. Beyond this immediate relief we are giving, what is the long-term plan that Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation intends to put in place in order to ensure that there is sustainability for this intervention?
Sincerely, we have deliberated on this. One, we want to expand the scope of our donors, either locally or internationally, that they can come to our aid to help us achieve the goal of satisfying Muslims in the period of this festival. The second aspect is that ZNS2 is looking for an opportunity where we can have people to partner with in terms of the marketer, those who sell the animal, and the butchers, so that all of us will be on the same page with the spirit of helping the less privileged, so that we can work together. And we have butchers, because during the festive period, we normally have difficulty in getting those who will slaughter. So we have arranged with those people so that we will not be disappointed, I will not discover the beneficiary too. We have partnered with them. The seller too, we also partner with them and some locals and international funders.
Thank you very much. This is how far we can go on today's edition of Path to Paradise. You have heard from Imam Sulaiman Shita, who is the Chief Coordinator for Lagos State. The first episode, when we brought the Executive Director CEO, he was able to tell us that over 10,000 household families actually benefited from the previous edition, which we hope would maintain the same for this year. There's nothing too small or too big to do in terms of supporting this initiative in order to bring smiles on the faces of the less privileged and the poor people who may not have the affordability to slaughter rams. That is where your contribution will go a long way in bringing smile on their faces. Once again, we want to remind you that Path to Paradise is powered by Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation, where we do not discriminate on the basis of religion or ethnicity. But what we know best to do is to humanize humanity. Until we come your way next week in our darling station, Lagos Television, I remain yours sincerely, Dr. Abdullah Shuaib, saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa
Eyes for
barakatuh.
Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatem, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Da is for Deen, al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and rise for the month of Ramadan.